welcome to another episode of Coaching You Through All Things Education podcast. This is season 3, episode 49, and I am so delighted today because we have the co founder of Digital PD4U LLC, an educator, an author, a speaker, and of course, administrator, Dr. Frederick D. White. Good
Thank you.
morning.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you for honoring us with your presence this morning. We're going to be talking about his upcoming book. This is his sixth one, and it's a compilation. And I'm going to let him unpack that a little bit for us, but it's The Labyrinth of Leadership. Wow. Just that title by itself makes me think of so many things. We're going to get started here. Could you share a little bit with us, Dr. White, about you? What are you about, and what are you passionate about, and what do you do on a day to day?
Okay. So we'll start with I am a principal in Memphis, Tennessee. And my passion, of course, is children. I think all educators, as we begin that journey, our passion is, kids. We want to see, what we can uh, embed into their lives, how we can make it better for the next generation. So my passion is always education and all of the components of education, teaching, the leadership, uh,
Yes.
curriculum, just really understanding our kids and how to make things better for them. So those are my passions within my field of study. But of course, I have a soon-to-be college man, my son,
Ah, yes.
to go off to college. He is my other passion. So I'm that dad that's not quite sure that I'm going to make it. I'm
Oh,
thinking about the drop off, and if I'm
sure.
going to, lose it a little bit, but that's my other passion. And of course, writing, poetry. My wife and I, we both write. We both try to get out in the public eye and really talk about education and the support of education. So that's me in a nutshell. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's a good nutshell to be in. And you know what? I appreciated you sharing that, not only your passion, of course, which leads the work that you do in the schools there in Memphis, um, but also your why as far as your family, right? Your son is an important part of your, I can hear it, right? And so I'm sure that him growing and developing and getting to this space, you feel invested not only as a parent but as an educator and seeing him soar, and I bet that's amazing.
It is. One of the things that we've always talked about, my wife and I, making sure that we're at a school or an institution where we don't mind our child attending. I think you'll have a lot of educators that
Hmm.
my child can't go to my school. I'm going to send him to this private school. I'm going to do this.
Oh, yes.
I think we were of the mindset, let's create the environment.
Hmm.
Our son, we can accept our son being there, and therefore it's acceptable for anybody's child to be there, because I wouldn't want, someone to send a child to my school and I wouldn't want my own son there, right? So
No, absolutely. Excellent point. I mean, I've been in education now myself, going in my 28th year in different roles, and it's the same thing. I have children
right.
that are now, college age and older. And so the bottom line is that's exactly it. Whether I was in a classroom, whether I was leading a building, or now, as people will hear, I'm going to be working at the state level. you know, it's exactly that. Would my child feel comfortable? Would they feel safe? Would they feel valued? Will they be learning at their highest potential if it was my building, etc. So I love that piece. Well, let's get into the book here. All
All
right,
right.
so you and Jamie are launching a new
Right.
book,
Hmm.
release entitled Labyrinth of Leadership: Navigating Your Way Through the Maze.
Right.
please provide a summary of the book without giving us too much because we're all going to go buy it.
All right.
But seriously, give us a summary of the book that you compiled with Jamie, please.
Well, the basics of this book is we developed a tool that, first we got together and we talked about these principles. As we have journeyed through leadership, what have been some of the pitfalls, what have been some of the struggles, what have been some of the things that, we wish we had had on day one, or we had considered day one, or
Okay.
in some cases. So we started, putting these titles together. And under these titles, we decided, hey, let's go ahead and reach out to other leaders and get their
Yes.
thoughts on these pieces. We looked at the professional development side. You'll see a chapter on professional development. You'll see a chapter on sitting in the seat versus looking at the seat.
Come on now.
Right, and that's a big piece. You'll see the chapter that we have understanding your role as a leader. So all of the pieces that we have throughout the book, they sort of journey with you.
Yes.
And the way that we have compiled, they are standalones within the book.
Mhm.
So you can look at a chapter. You can look at the titles of each chapter. This is what I need right here, and it doesn't mean you have to travel through the entire book to get to that piece.
Right. Hmm.
That piece on professional development, that may be where your mind is right now, so you can jump straight there, and it's a standalone chapter.
Absolutely.
We have Dr. Felicia Fowler, who is very good at what she does. She's been in education for going on 30 years herself. I've written in there. We have Chris Starcheski. He is written in there from Unlock the Middle.
Mhm.
His podcast, great guy. We have Brianne Fennell in there, Hans Apple. So all of these individuals have lent their breadth of knowledge
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
help leaders. And I won't say administrators or just school, because as I read through each chapter that was presented, these can be applied to any leadership position,
Oh, absolutely.
not just
Mhm.
education.
Teacher
So I
leaders,
think it's a
right?
great read. I think it's a great read so
Mhm.
far. We're looking for it to be released mid-month. So hopefully, after it's proofed and everything, it'll be ready for that time. But
Yes.
it is a absolute fabulous tool for the beginning leader, the midway through your road leader, and even that leader that is at the end of the journey and is reflecting back.
Yes, yes. And I have to add my 2 cents because I have a little preview of it. But I liked how you talked about, each chapter could stand alone, but you all were very creative in circling back. Like, like there were pieces of of a particular section, and you said, but you could refer back to this chapter if you need to know more about this particular, and it's just, I think that's very well done. Like you said, it's standalone, but if I need to refer back, I can, or if I need more information about a particular term or something that may be unfamiliar to me, particularly as a new leader, I can circle back. Oh, okay, I can go there and
Yeah.
do that. So it's very well done, very well put together.
I let one of my friends in California do a read, and he actually said, "Well, I gave it to him. I think around 8 that morning, 8 our time here in Memphis, and just get to it when you can." So he called me back the next day, and I just, "Hey, have you had a chance to glance at it?" I finished. I said, "Okay." He said he said, it flowed well to him.
Yes, yes.
He liked the idea that he could prescribe chapters to
Hmm.
leaders. So if you have not just a book study, but if you have a leader that needs to understand more about their
Sure.
role, or they need to read the stress buster chapter,
Right.
hey, just read this chapter. So,
Right.
so
Excellent. Excellent. Great feedback you're getting. All right. So, how did the title Labyrinth of Leadership Navigating Your Way Through the Maze evolve?
so I've been in education. I'm still young in education. I've only been in maybe 26 years, 25 years. So we're still young in education, right? Uh,
Sure, young in it.
but within that time, I've been able to work with, influence, partner, mentor lots of leaders. And each person that I have dealt with in that capacity,
Sure.
they have been on a different leg of their journey. Some of them have been uh, themselves in that maze where they're back where they started at, or they are looking for a way out, or so just trying to figure out
Hmm.
different points of entry into leadership, uh,
Okay.
different ways to grow yourself or to exit. These are the most important pieces. So just looking at this like a maze or a labyrinth and trying to figure out the best way to fulfill yourself and to accomplish your goal of supporting kids, supporting teachers, can
Yes.
be confusing. It can be a labyrinth. And I think we all just need some help. We need some direction. Uh,
Mhm.
and I hope that our text is going to provide that to leaders. Once again, not just in education, but individuals in leadership positions. So just thinking of our work as a journey through a maze and trying to find the best path for us.
Ah, yes. Well, I think it's the perfect title. You're looking at, like you said, entry points, exit points, right? Those who have been in the field and maybe thinking about something different, right? Or still in education, but just a different role. But also navigating while you're in there. And that's
Right.
and like you said, at various levels. It doesn't matter if you just started. You could be an aspiring leader, you could be a teacher leader, you could be in corporate world, right? And just be starting and be like, where on earth am I going to go, right? Because all you see are walls, right? In a labyrinth, you only see walls around you, but there's always an opening, right?
Yeah.
Or an
Yes.
opening.
Never just a clear, straight path for you.
Right,
While
right.
you're in there, you're going to find some people that have gotten lost. They've lost their way. And I
Oh,
think
ma'am. Mm-hmm.
have those colleagues that have lost their way,
Sure.
and they do need some support to get back on the right path, how to get themselves out of that maze. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Love it. Love it. Love it. All right. So, what impact do you hope your book will have on leaders around the globe? Notice I said around the globe because I know it's already going to be everywhere.
Thank you for that encouragement.
Oh, indeed.
I hope that the book has a positive effect on leaders to step back and reflect on what their needs are. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Often, as leaders, we feel that we are alone in this role. We really don't have a lot of individuals to lean on, and and sometimes you just need somebody to come and walk that path with you,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or take that ride with you, just to not necessarily show you which way to go, but for you to lean on when you're tired. So
Mm-hmm.
hopefully our book will be a support for leaders as they try to find their path.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that some of the chapters to me are really biggies. We have a chapter called Dream Chasing. Uh,
Ah,
this
yes.
is it's very powerful to me because it looks at who you want to be as a leader,
Mm-hmm.
sort
Mm-hmm.
of develops how you get there. And I think that even a person that has been in leadership for 20 or 30 years may not have found the leader that they want to be.
Sure.
So I'm hoping that our book helps to develop uh, uh, leaders into great leaders, uh,
All right now.
great leaders into phenomenal leaders.
Ooh, mm-hmm.
That's what we're hoping for. And that's one of the reasons that we try to get so many different voices in the book, uh,
Sure.
and not just come from one person. And even those voices that are in the book, we lean on the work, or we cite individuals within our profession, because once again, you have to look at what's already been done and on our other colleagues that are in this work.
Yes, indeed. Wow. You use the word leading and feeling that sense of support. And I think that, and we've both been in education a long time. I don't know that we always, whether we were teachers, right? Not to anybody's fault, or whether we were administrator, whatever. I don't know there was always the feeling of that someone will support you or could support you, or that that was the focus. I'm not saying you didn't have your little group, you know what I mean? You always had to have your core group. But I think we've shifted, is what I'm saying, in a very positive way in this country about, it's okay to need support. It's okay to lean on someone else, to glean from, someone else. What are your thoughts on that?
I think as we were coming up in education, we were
Mhm.
lied to, like there
Sure.
could only be one leader.
Come on now.
There
Mhm.
could only be, there's always competition. As a building principal, I often hear individuals, say when you're looking for your assistant principal or your vice principal,
Sure.
don't hire anybody that's been a principal before, because they just want your seat.
Okay, now I've heard
I
that too.
think I think right, and I think we've been lied to, and
Yes.
stressors that has brought about more stress, and telling us that we can't depend on strong people, or it's kept us from having
Yes.
people. I'm a true believer that I want people around me that are smarter than me, uh,
Sure. Amen.
that
Yeah,
have skills that I don't have.
that's right. Yes.
So when you lean away from that, you make your work harder.
Mm, mm,
You allow people to put stress into you that is not necessary. We as a educational family
sure.
support each other.
Mhm.
We can lean on each other, and
Yes.
we can do this without worrying that somebody is coming for our job. Because
Right.
if we
Exactly. Right.
right, if we focus more on doing the work rather than keeping the job,
Okay, now.
end up,
Mm-mm.
sort of progressing to a great leadership. So,
Woo. All right, now. That was something all to itself. Here
I'm
another.
sorry, but as my wife will say, I can get long-winded, especially now if you get me on the right topic, you'll be sitting here, Doc, I need you to come on. My faculty does that all the time. Hey, come on now. Yeah, so,
Yeah, but that was good stuff. That was good stuff. I mean, you pinpointed it. You put. I mean, you were like, here it is. We have
right.
been lied to,
Mhm.
right? And I don't think that. And like you said, there are different reasons why. But I think that the shift that we are in currently, however long it's been going on, to me, it's only been a little window of time. I think it's important. I think it's important that we feel like you said, I like to say iron sharpens iron,
Correct.
right?
Right.
Only as good as the people around us, really.
Right. That is
So,
it. That is
you know
it.
what I mean? So it's that, whew, that's
And
powerful.
and I think at the point where we accept that we need, those other strong people in our world to sort
Hmm.
of help us focus, I think that's when when we accept that we need that, that's when we start to transition into great leaders. Because
Yes.
education itself is under attack. You know,
Oh, indeed.
you're right. We know educators aren't paid what they need to be paid. We know that their
Right.
voices are not really heard. But we know that we have one of the most valuable
Oh, yes.
professions, right? So,
Indeed. Yes.
yeah.
Ooh, okay. Well, when, and where can our listeners buy this fantastic book?
So this we're doing a self-published. This is self-published because we definitely want to make this book affordable for leaders, and so
Sure.
we're going to do an Amazon drop for this one, and this is going to be my wife, my beautiful wife,
Yes.
right, is telling me that we're going to be was going to drop on the 15th. Uh,
Okay.
I'm I'm saying okay, we're going to do the 15th, uh, but it'll be on Amazon on the 15th, and it will hopefully get into the hands of leaders that are in
Yes.
need, leaders that truly need that thing or that piece to lean on as they maneuver their way through this fabric. Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, August 15th. You heard that, folks. August 15th.
Yeah, but
On
because we are, I think our plan was to actually have released it at the beginning of the month, like on last week. Well, end of,
Oh, sure. Yes.
but I think I procrastinated.
Okay.
It's on me. It's on me. So I'll take that charge.
You'll take that charge. That means it'll
Yes,
definitely be out on the 15th.
yes, yes, yes. I do as I'm told when it comes to my wife. So
And there's nothing really wrong with that.
not at all, not at all.
Speaking as a wife myself.
We follow orders, we follow directives.
Oh, now, now.
Look, I know my role, I know my assignment, I go for it.
And in this case, that's her strength, right? So we're
It is, it is, it is.
gonna go with that.
She is brilliant.
Oh, in
As she, like I said, the whole the construct that we came up with has been, pretty much her brainchild as we start
okay,
through
yes.
this and figure this out. We do presentations on colorism,
Uh-huh, yes,
all of
yes.
these other pieces. She is that organizational person that keeps us moving
Right, right.
and keeps us, training and doing things.
Oh, indeed.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You
Mm.
said about colorism. Now, that's something I was wondering, because as I shared before we got on here, I'm going to be in a new role, very soon, starting August 15th. That's going to be a special day
Right.
for all of us. Um, as the excuse me, Delaware Department of Education,
Hmm.
focusing on educator equity and recruitment. And so, equity is a big word, it's a big term, and it encompasses so much. And, you in your role, if you don't mind just sharing just a little bit, um, you know, what is your vision or what is your hope, when it comes to equity for our students, for our staff, however you want to unpack that.
Oh, and I think equity in itself is so big.
It
When we start talking about unpacking it, when we talk about our kids,
is.
and I
Mhm.
want that to be the center stone, uh,
Sure.
the making sure that our kids, people will say all the time, hey, I think I treat all kids the same.
Mm, mm.
That's good, but that's not equitable. I said, because I need you to understand all kids are not the same,
Mhm.
have
Mhm.
not been front loaded with the same information. All students have not been provided with the same
Mm.
choices, the
Mm.
same chances, the same
Come
uh,
on now.
things to grow them. So you can't tell me that a child that has been provided uh, you know, pre-K, lives at home with both parents,
Mhm.
is on equal footing with a child that has not had those opportunities, that is home with a single parent, that is not
Mhm.
being read to, all of that, and you put both of them in that same place and say, all right, now you guys are on equal footing. That's just not the case.
No.
You have to understand how to stagger or give people the supports that they need in
Sure.
order to create a equitable environment.
Mhm.
If
Mhm.
that's in the
Mhm.
school, if that's in the workplace, We have to make sure that that starting line for that person that is behind and needs more may be up here,
Sure.
as opposed to back here. So what supports are we providing that person that has not had all of those same things?
Right.
I think we have to be able to look at individuals and take where they come from into account, where they are into account, what they need into account
Hmm.
before we say that we are providing them with equitable services, equitable education, equitable wages.
Wow. Yes. Yes.
Extremely important.
Hmm.
I tell people all the time when we present, Jamie and I present on equity and colorism. When
Yes.
individuals see me, I'm a big guy, right? So I'm 300 pounds. I'm a 6'2". I've been a solid guy my entire life.
Sure.
And,
Yes. Yes.
and the first thing that people say when they see me, oh, you must play football.
Oops. See.
No, 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 that's not. So if you were to look at and say, hey, we put these guys on the football field somewhere. You have you have put me in a situation where you say that this is equitable, but I'm a person that's never played ball. It's
Ma'am.
not my thing. So you have not started us in that same place. You have just simply gone appearances. So you can't look at two kids and say that, hey, you guys are going to start in the same place. You have the same potential. Yeah. So
Wow. Excellent
we
example.
can talk about that all day. I promise you. I promise you, we could be on here until noon right now, but my teachers for me, I know.
Right. They'll be a little upset about that.
Yeah.
So we won't do that. But no, that was really powerful. A powerful example. Like you said, it's not, people do it all the time, right? And with good intentions, right? These two children, these two teacher, whatever, these two adults, right? In my building are the same because they look the same, or I'm just assuming that they have the background that is needed, the will or the skill, that
Right.
is needed. But it's not always the case.
No.
And what do we do to upload, front load, like you said, or to provide those supports? There's that word again. That are equitable and not necessarily equal.
Yeah. And how do we fight against our biases also?
Uh,
Especially in education, those
sure.
spoken biases that people have that just sit in the corner and oh no, I'm not I'm not prejudiced, I'm not racist, I don't see color.
Mm,
Okay,
mm,
and that's always the biggie to me. I love when people say I don't see color.
right.
Then you don't see me if you don't see color, right?
You don't see
So
anything
that's the
wrong,
problem. That's the problem.
right? No, but I
Yeah.
understand what you mean. Absolutely. All right, we got one last question because
Okay, I got you.
on a building. Here we go.
Yes, ma'am.
If you could have a billboard with anything on it, what
Mhm.
legacy message would you print on it and why?
I think hmm, that billboard would have to say, operate with the kids in mind.
Mm,
And I will say this because I think every educator went into education,
hmm.
every good educator went into education because they wanted to help children.
Yes, yes.
So in our work, I would hope that even as you read the Labyrinth of Leadership,
Mm-hmm.
think about how to operate with the kids in mind. Think about how to grow with our kids in mind. What are we doing to support the next generation? Uh, what are we doing to help them write the next chapter of our world? So if we move and operate with our kids in mind, I think
Mm-hmm.
we'll, you know, begin to heal a lot of things that are broken in our world.
Ooh, yes, Lord.
Yeah, we all know uh, you know, the piece, how are the children? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
that should be always be our question. How are the children? That should be
Yes.
our question. What are we doing for the children? What are we doing to make their world better?
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of what your job is, what are you doing? our kids? How are you supporting them? It's always heart-wrenching to go into places where they, go into schools where it's not centered around kids, where
Mm-hmm.
work is supposedly about children, but you'll see money not being spent on the children,
Mm-hmm.
time not put toward increasing productivity with the children.
Wow.
About, hey, what about these test scores? Kids
Mm-hmm.
are more than tests. Uh,
Right, right.
kids are more than their actions.
Oh, indeed.
Looking at that whole child and how are we supporting them? So that billboard would have to say, think with the, operate in the best interest of our children.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So,
Wow.
and
Woo.
under it, and of course, I'd probably put the title of the book because I want people to buy it.
So
So
that's it.
yeah, put it in the cornerstone or something.
Right. That's how that goes.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Well, Dr. White, thank you so much for your time and energy today. Um,
always a pleasure. Always
oh
a
my
pleasure.
goodness, your wisdom has just unpacked a lot for us, around leadership, around navigating that maze through leadership, and of course, all your added nuggets around equity and our children and the focus that we need to have. Have an amazing final day. Oh, excuse me, final day. Have an amazing day at work. You're just starting up, and we will talk to you next time and look for your book.
Excellent. I definitely appreciate you, and I hope you have a wonderful day. I'm going to finish my day with dealing with data with my professors. So it's going, they're going, I'm going to leave them with a smile on their face. So, hey, we're going to see how that works.
Yes,
Thank you
indeed.
again for having me. Thank you for
Oh,
allowing me to talk about the book. And hopefully everyone will get a chance to read it.
yes, yes, they will. All right.